Hello, brothers and sisters. I know it's been a couple months since my last video. A lot has happened in a couple months, both in my life and obviously the world. As far as personally, just the health of my mother, dealing with that. It's been pretty stressful, especially having to do other people's jobs to get her health care taken care of. Because Medicare is so fun to work with. The world, obviously, the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Thus my shirt, Never Surrender. And also the opening to the Olympics. I've only seen snippets, and that's enough to be disgusted, as well as the Democrat presidential ticket. So, in keeping with that, so many people say, there should be a separation of church and state, and that religion should stay out of politics, and vice versa. You can't separate religion and politics, and here's why. Politicians matter. Governance matters. Now, that being said, of course, God comes before all, so your faith does come before your politics, period. However, there's certain things with politics that should follow your Christian morals as close as possible. Nobody's perfect. We're never given perfect people to vote for. Obviously, that's why they're politicians. However, we should come to as close as possible. Support those that support your values. Common moral values that people espouse, that everybody agrees with, most of which center on the Ten Commandments. Again, it comes from God. I mentioned the Ten Commandments. When everybody says, well, this is morally right, this is morally right, those morals come from God. They weren't just made up by man, because just the opposite. We fell from our morals. We sinned against God. He cursed Adam and Eve and threw them out of the garden. So, our morals come from God. So, that being said, the attack on President Trump was, of course, on the surface, politically motivated. The Democrats who are in power right now, who I would argue do not have a moral compass, do not want him to be president, obviously. You hear their comments that he's virtually Hitler and he's going to take away democracy, etc., etc. All the things they claim he's going to do, he didn't do his first 4 years, and Joe Biden has done his entire 3.5, 4 years. That's a hallmark of Satan, the father of lies. Not only does he lie, but he puts his lies on someone else and says, no, look what they're doing. Well, he's doing the same thing behind your back. So ultimately this is from Satan. He's trying to sow discord as much as he can. the more he can destroy man, the better. He knows he's going down, so he wants to take us with him. That's obviously evident, and that is what he's trying to do. As far as the Olympics, there is a big thing. He knows the secular world loves the Olympics, and they saw no problem with they saw no problem with what the opening. They were, they're more like, well, I mean, we should allow them a voice too, etc., etc. Everyone is free to make their own choices. It's called free will, and we have no one has a right to prevent someone from making choices according to their free will, whether we agree with it or not. However, something that is also true is others should not be impeding on ours. As a Templar, no, we don't believe in absolute free speech. We don't. This is where we do pull away from politics a little, because a lot of people with the freedom of speech clause and the Bill of Rights of our Constitution here in America are absolutists. We don't like what they say, but they have a right to say it. Politically, yes. But as a Christian, no, there's certain things I don't want them to say. And because I don't agree with it, I think it's satanic and should not be said. However, again, they have free will to say it. Does that mean I believe in a theocracy? Well, thanks to man, that's never going to be possible. However, when Christ returns, that's pretty much what it's going to be. There'll be a lot of surprises when he returns. Back to the Olympics, though. I don't see why they had to mock the Last Supper. That was done intentionally, of course. Christianity is the only religion that can be persecuted openly. No other faith is allowed to be. Will the world allow that to happen? Why is that? Because Satan's not afraid of those other religions. They're already in his pocket. He knows they're false religions. He knows they praise false gods. He doesn't care about them. It's us he wants to take down. Christians and Christianity, our belief in Jesus Christ, Son of the Almighty Father. So he's going to sow discord amongst the secular world, saying, hey, you can persecute these people all you want. So no, that was done on purpose. It is purposely satanic, and it was purposely mocking. I'm surprised they didn't have have an aborted fetus on the table. I mean, really, if you think about it, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't go that far. Although I'm sure that's coming. And we'll talk more about that later with the Democrat presidential ticket here in America. Anyway, so yeah, we have a lot of issues going on right now. Satan is ramping it up, and he knows his time is short, so he's going out of his way to do as much damage as he can before he's cast into hell. There are a lot of myths that the heathen, the Satanists throw against us. Like that we hate the alphabet mob, that we hate those that have an abortion, we hate those that aren't Christian. Of course, none of that is true. You and I know that. However, we still love them, and we should still treat them like anyone else. I treat everyone the same. Their actions dictate if I change my actions towards them or my treatment towards them. If that makes sense. You know, you're not an a-hole till you act like an a-hole, and then I'm going to respond accordingly. Of course, you know, Satan works with extremes. Or is famously quoted, only the Sith believe in absolutes. And that definitely applies in real life. Only Satan deals with absolutes. Either you're all the way in or you're all the way out. There's no in between. So if we stand up for ourselves, if we speak out against these things, or of course we're the ones that are bad. Well, again, Satan says, those people are bad, not me. You know, it's the joke that, you know, Satan's reigning in hell, ha ha. You know, hear that from some Satanists, and kind of look at him funny, and like, he doesn't reign there, he reigns on earth. And he will be cast into hell for punishment, and you along with him. And I've been to hell, I've been to the abyss. You don't want to go. I do not recommend. 0 stars. Do not go. Do not put yourself there. I do have a testimony under my Catholic journey about what happened with me and how I really became born again. I might do a separate video on that. We'll see if anybody wants to see that mentioned in the comments. By the way, if you do mention in the comments, please be respectful. If you're going to be passive aggressive or instigate, I'm just going to delete it because I don't have time for it. Again, you have freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean I have to listen to it or I have to abide to what you say. I can just delete your comment. I do have a right to do that as well. So, sorry, but not sorry. Also, please subscribe, share. I am going to try to grow my channel. More on that later. So, yes, we do need to stand up against what's going on in the Olympics, especially. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your faith. Again, that doesn't mean being aggressive. Remember, we only fight in defense. We do not fight in offense, but that doesn't mean physically, but that doesn't mean we can't voice our concern. It doesn't mean we can't be confrontational, as in saying what we mean. Okay? Expect some backlash. Oh yes. Expect more persecution. However, be able to stand up and take it and say, sorry, I'm not backing down. Going back to Trump, let's get the political part out of the way. By the way, if you haven't seen the Olympic opening, horrendous. Just, I don't even want to. There's enough YouTubers out there that have their own comments about it, and it's disgusting. So, as far as Trump, I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with the stance on abortion, public stance. Now, with most politicians, what he says privately may be different than what he says publicly, and that, of course, that goes with politics and getting elected. But I'm also not a one-issue voter. I can separate politics enough to say, wow, he does have the conservative moral compass, whether he agrees with abortion with limits or not. Of course, those of us that are conservative Christians don't believe in abortion at all. But I guess we have to take it the way we can get it. J.D. Vance, I think, is an excellent pick for vice president as well. I think he really does also espouse our values, and he's a very strong Christian. And I tend to believe that he is pro-life. So we still got a decent mix there, and I'm okay with that. Just pray for Trump's conversion is all we can do. As far as this Kamala Waltz pick, obviously we know Kamala isn't but a puppet, and she doesn't know where she stands on what. It depends on where she's speaking. A lot like Dementia Joe is. But she is very liberal, as it is. The thing she said is pretty out there. Waltz is even worse. I know he's our governor here in Minnesota. He's tried to destroy the state. We've been somewhat keeping him at bay, at least as far as the Second Amendment goes. Although he has passed like red flag laws. We have been able to keep no restrictions on firearms as far as what we can own. We still have a permit to carry, and we are allowed to open carry if we wish. I choose not to in most circumstances, just because there's enough Karens out there. I don't want to deal with the hassle. Not my day-to-day. If I'm prepared for the hassle, sure, I'll open carry. Oftentimes it's just a shirt over it, and you can tell I'm carrying a firearm. And I haven't had the problem of anybody saying anything, but I don't go openly try to stick in people's faces either. Does that make sense? You know, you can be bold without being aggressive. But Waltz, besides lying about his military record and as a veteran, that angers me. And we knew about that when he got voted, so I never voted for him. He believes in abortion with no limits. He signed a bill for that. Another mark against him. He believes in 100% in gay rights and 100% in affirmation therapy for gender dysphoria. I may have a video on that as well. You can mention that in the comments. I don't know how soon I will be doing that one. That's kind of a personal thing with me, and I'm not really sure how far I want to go with that yet. However, I will say his whole thing with affirming care and being able to have children being able to transition, etc., 100% against. Totally wrong. Totally bad idea. Tampons in a boy's bathroom. For what? Oh, for girls pretending to be boys can have a tampon. Well, if they're being boys, then they shouldn't need one. Oh, wait, they're not, so they do. Again, it's sowing confusion. There is no confusion. Male, female. That's it. You may pretend or want to be a female, and that's a mental health issue you need to deal with. But you are what you are. Physical attributes do not make changing your physical attributes, I should say, does not make you from one gender to the other. Whether you dress like a female, wear female clothes, and even if you go through the full surgery, still does not make you a woman, still does not make you female. There is still a distinction there. There is an essence and a being that a female has that men will never understand and never have. Period. End of. And vice versa. Again, like females in men's sports, the female boxers that get beat up by men. Satan's doing a doozy. So yeah, a lot going on in the world. And all I can say is stand up and continue to fight. Fight as much as you can. Again, physically, I don't think that's a positive produce positive results, and also understand that when you stand up, you will be persecuted, and yes, they may use the law against you. Be prepared for that. As much as you say, oh, they can't and they're not supposed to, they will anyway. So be prepared for that. In the UK, make sure what you say online. If you're going to say something bold based on your faith, you know the UK police will be knocking on your door and may put you in jail. You may beat the charges, but you're still going to spend time in jail. Just understand that. The protests going on in the UK against immigration, yes, they need to stop what's happened. We need to close our border. We're not going to deport them all. You're not going to force them all out. And starting a civil war over it is not going to solve anything but take lives. That's all it's going to do. The immigrants are still going to be here. Illegal immigrants are still going to be here. There's just going to be a lot less of them and a lot less of us. So what's the point of the violence and the blood? There's other ways to handle that. I'm not saying a war isn't coming, because eventually it is. We read Revelation, we know that. But let's not provoke it. The riots that are happening, there's no reason for a riot, no matter what your side is. There's just no reason for a riot. What are you going to do? Well, don't do that. If you are protesting, if you are marching, that's fine. If you see things going south, things turning riotous, walk away. Walk away as fast as you can. Separate yourself. Most of the time, the people that are causing the riots aren't there for your cause anyway. They're just there to cause riots. They're just there to destroy things and be hooligans, or they're drunk, or whatever. It's got nothing to do with your cause. Also, look out for agent provocateurs. They're all over. Satan will have those all over in there. Because again, he's trying to sow discord. So, as far as this channel, yeah, I do have some other things in the future I want to do. I'd like to do more range and tactical videos, more defense videos. Unfortunately, I don't have the cameras for that. All I have is a phone. This is without an income. At this point in time, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm working on all that. It's not a problem of a job. It's a problem of I need a stable income so that I can pay bills. Gosh, how I can say this? Because my mother has dementia. I've been caring for her for 3 years. Some of you already know that. Currently, she's in hospital because she fell and broke her hip, so she's recovering from that right now. So right now, my benefits for food and her Social Security are paying for the housing bills. Now, fortunately, the house is paid for, my car is paid for, but that doesn't erase the utilities, car insurance, phone bill, gas. All that's still important, and all that has to be paid for on my mother's paycheck, which is rough. I'm not happy about that. I'm also not getting paid to take care of her because the state of Minnesota has put too many restrictions on it, so I can't get paid to take care of her. So yes, I'm in a circle right now. I've applied for some disability, just because the mental stress of dealing with my mother has been beyond something that I can control with medication like I've done previously. Medication, therapy, and prayers helped me out great up until taking care of my mother. It's just something about her and my subconscious mind it just isn't working. That's a very long story that I'm not going to get into here. So yeah, so right now I'm financially strapped. When these benefits come through, even if I'm only on disability for a year, just to get her help that she needs in an in-home care, so that I can then focus on myself and get myself better, then I can move forward. I have goals. I want to do some Templar field missions. We have missions ongoing in Bulgaria. I want to go and start with first, which have to do with border protection, keeping the extremists, the Muslim extremists, out of Europe, because because they're not wanting to stay in Bulgaria. They want to go through Bulgaria into Western Europe, and then ultimately to the UK and US. And the more we can stop the border, the less that'll come through. We think there's a lot of come through now. Imagine if Eastern Europe was not guarding their borders. We do actually have a lot of missions in Eastern Europe. Some humanitarian, some military oriented. I'm more interested in military oriented. I would like to do humanitarian missions we had in Ukraine, have it going on in Ukraine, but the dictator Zelensky since he's getting his butt kicked by the Russians, he is conscripting anybody he can see and throwing them in the trenches. I'm not going to be a part of that. That's a brother's war that shouldn't happen to begin with. I want nothing to do with that. But I am preparing to go to Bulgaria to guard their borders. We also have many soldiers fighting in the Middle East. Fighting as in protecting Christians and innocent people being oppressed and subjugated by the extremists there. We have Templar members all over the world doing these things. That's the field work I want to get into. With my medical and other training I have between being security and in the military, and being a former paramedic, I believe I can help to these causes very well. That's where I want to go. So, this is most of my videos go long because I like to ramble. This is a longer one today. Not one of my longest, but one of my longer ones. But hold on to hope. God is in our corner. And with God on our side, and He's with us, who can be against us? No one. With that, God bless, and Deuce Vault.